पताक त्रिपताको अर्थपताक कर्तरीमुखः मयूराख्यो अर्थचन्द्रश्चापि अराळ शुकदुण्डकः मुष्टिश्च शिखराख्यश्च कपित्थ कटकामुखः सूची चन्द्रकला पद्मकोश सर्पशिरस्तथा
सहस्रशीर्षा पुरुषः सहस्राक्षः सहस्रपात् स भूमिं विश्वतो कृत्वा अत्यतिष्ठद्दशाङ्गुलम् पुरुष एवेदकं सर्वम् यद्बोधयश्च भव्यम् भूतामृतत्वस्येषाणः यदन्नेनादिलोहति
The world in which we live contains more than what we see. Everything around us is symbolically conceived and performatively established. In this way, our existence is valorized. We exist as a physical body. Across the centuries, scholarly references have been made to the expressive power of bodily action. And to this day, human presence remains a key concept in Indian philosophy and spiritual life. As a species endowed with a special capacity to communicate, we can certainly speak and write. But before these linguistic skills developed, we also had an ability to gesture. This corresponds to a basic urge to make ourselves understood. Thus, early in human evolution, we wish to interpret as well as express meanings. Indian classical dance involves a form of embodied expression that addresses audiences through the gesturing of the hands. This is a quasi-linguistic system known as mudra that is used extensively in Kathakali, Bharatanatyam and Mohiniyattam performances. The central purpose is to tell stories. Curiously, similar hand gestures are found in tantric rituals, where the goal is transcendental rather than narratorial. The Kulanava Tantra traces the origins of the term mudra to mud, meaning delight or pleasure, and dru, which means to draw forth. These linguistic roots anticipate both the performative and the spiritual uses of the word. The earliest theatrical definition of mudra we have occurs in Bharata Natya Shastra. But this ancient language of the hands is so old, it is thought to have been studied half a millennium ago by the Sanskrit linguist and grammarian Panini.
മനുഷ്യന് അനവധി അംഗങ്ങളുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ കൂടിയും ഉപാംഗങ്ങളും പ്രത്യംഗങ്ങളും ഉണ്ട്. ഇതിലെ മഹാംഗങ്ങൾ എന്ന് പറയുന്നതാണ് മഹാംഗമാണ് ശരിക്ക് കൈ. ഈ കൈകളിലൂടെയാണ് പ്രത്യക്ഷമായിട്ടുള്ള മുദ്രകളെ പ്രകടിപ്പിക്കുന്നത്. മുദ്രയ്ക്ക് കാരണാഗമം എന്ന ഗ്രന്ഥത്തിലും അജിതാഗമം എന്ന ഗ്രന്ഥങ്ങളിലും കരദീപിക, ഹസ്തലക്ഷണദീപിക എന്ന അനവധി ഗ്രന്ഥങ്ങളിലും മുദ്ര എന്ന വാക്കിനെ പറ്റി ഒരുപാട് തരത്തിൽ നിർവചനങ്ങൾ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. അമരകോശത്തിൽ അമരസിംഹൻ മുദ്ര എന്ന വാക്ക് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നില്ല എങ്കിൽ കൂടിയും ഉണാദി സൂത്രത്തിൽ ര എന്ന പ്രത്യയം കൂടി ചേർത്തിട്ട്, അതായത് മുത് എന്ന ആ വാക്കിനെ ഉണാദി സൂത്രത്തിൽ ര എന്ന പ്രത്യയം കൂടി ചേർത്തിട്ട് മുദ്ര എന്ന വാക്ക് ഉപയോഗിക്കുന്നു. അതിന് ഏറ്റവും നല്ല രീതിയിൽ ആശയവിനിമയം നടത്തുന്നത് എന്നർത്ഥം. അതിന് ഇങ്ങനെ അനവധി ഗ്രന്ഥങ്ങളിൽ മുദ്ര എന്ന വാക്ക് പ്രയോഗിച്ച് കാണുന്നുണ്ട്.
Thus, in India, hand gestures constitute a repository of embodied knowledge that has a deep spiritual significance. It doesn't matter if you are a traditional dancer or a tantric practitioner, there are training regimes that must be followed rigorously before an enhanced, non-everyday use of the hands is obtained. In this sense, there are matters of instruction, preparation and practice that are general to both the theatrical and ritualistic versions of mudra. Indeed, one wonders how the years of inculcation and discipline result in such a creative and spiritual skill. To understand how ordinary movements of the hands become mudra, we need to know what happens during the training process. What happens when a teacher addresses the outer and inner bodily states of a student performer or novice priest? Certainly, the hands of a Kathakali dancer, as they signal to an audience, are a most versatile means of expression. After all, in telling a story, mudras express feelings and establish areas of aesthetic pleasure which must involve unusual levels of non-verbal communication. The training required to reach such artistic heights accustoms the fledgling performer to the physical demands of performing Kathakali. The hands are such an extendable and expressive part of the body, and the ability to hold mudras is given the utmost consideration in the development of a dancer's expertise. 24 hasta mudras have to be committed to memory. These are based on the ancient text Hasta Lakshana Deepika. They are then assimilated as bodily actions, so that they can be combined into more complex compound meanings. As a dancer's knowledge advances, they are able to arrange these compounds in sequences, and in this way, the storytelling process is itself extended.
Ana Simham കാള ഇതിന് 36 മുദ്രകൾ ഇങ്ങനെ ഈ സംയുക്തമായിട്ടുണ്ട്. സംയുക്തം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ രണ്ട് കൈ കൂടി കാണിക്കുന്നത്, ഒറ്റ കൈ കൊണ്ട് മാത്രം കാണിക്കുന്നത് ആ സംയുക്തം എന്ന് പറയും. അപ്പോൾ ഒറ്റ കൈ കൊണ്ട് മാത്രം കാണിക്കുന്ന മുദ്രകളും ഉണ്ട്. ഇതാണ് ബേസിക് മുദ്ര.
This extensive mudra vocabulary has evolved to such a degree that it can now convey multi-layered mythical narratives. The dancer's hands can communicate meanings without the wonderful costume or the powerfully emotive music. In order to refine their mudra technique, students sit perfectly still and learn to make their hands do all the talking. As in many traditional art forms, students learn their skills by copying their teacher. This is the best way to absorb knowledge that is embedded in the performative potential of the body. In this sense, the skill of using mudra perfects the communicative capacity of our outer body. In addition to the physical training, each student will also have to fine-tune their inner body. Their hands will have to relay the profundity and insightfulness of the classical Indian epics. But this is not just a matter of improving one's understanding of traditional stories. All students have to learn how to improvise with the content of treasured narratives that have been handed down the generations. The artum is the stage in a Kathakali performance at which a story can be augmented, perhaps even spontaneously modified by the scope a performer has to use their imagination. To learn how to do this opens doors onto the esoteric and mysterious spiritual world conjured by the cultural and religious life of Kerala, the home of Kathakali. Traditionally speaking, Kathakali theatre is performed in temples after the main rituals have taken place. The atmosphere generated by this numinous situation adds gravity to the mental preparations of a dancer. Once the performer is wearing their costume and the kiridam has been placed on the head, silence is observed, as the dancer's everyday self is eased into the mythic space occupied by the characters in the epic. Their larger-than-life world, known in India as the Natyapami, produces a state of mind in which the performer, to all intents and purposes, becomes the fabled being featured in the story. Let's turn now to the world of Tantra, to those spiritual traditions in which the process of performing a ritual requires a high degree of bodily engagement.
അവരവരുടെ നാമത്തോട് കൂടിയിട്ട് അഭിവാദേ സുബ്രഹ്മണ്യ ശർമ്മ നാമ അഹമസ്മി ഭോ.
A student tantri learns how to use their hands for sacred purposes by following repetitive regimes similar to those found in a dancer's training. Both instill a vocabulary of signs and attendant meanings that transform everyday actions into something entirely other than. But in the case of Tantric practitioners, hand gestures have to be memorized in conjunction with a meditative form of chanting known as mantra. A remarkable level of physical and mental discipline is required to realize this fusing of sacred movement and charged intonation. But this task, the challenge of combining two difficult techniques, constructs the time-honored portal by which we enter the fascinating realm of tantric ritual. Brahmins commence their training in Tantra at a very young age. The initiation rite is known as Upanayana. After this, the initiate embarks on a life of daily rituals in which the performing of mudra and mantra together becomes a matter of routine.
Virolkaya swaha shikhayai vashal.
Interestingly, the process of understanding the meaning behind these highly significant performative actions involves no explanatory narrative. A priest simply shows what has to be done, and the initiate imitates these actions until they are right. This type of training is given over to the physical repetition and bodily assimilation of ritual practices. And yet a profound engagement with embodied meaning develops in the student. Underlying this extraordinary absorption of knowledge is an ancient pedagogic process that respects the integration of the inner conscious mind with the outer physical body. What we see here is a ritual in which the externalization of emotional content is achieved. This embodied state is called bhavana. The practitioner has become a channel, and in doing so, 51 Sanskrit letters have been intoned to give his body a mantric identity. In addition, this tantri is also employing mudra to imagine what the deity looks like. The movements and positioning of his hands allow him to visualize details of a god's physical presence. To combine such potent vocal sounds with significant hand gestures has a transformative effect on the tantri's physical awareness. The impact may be visceral, but both tantric and kathakali practitioners are trained to turn their bodily sensations inwards. This is how they perfect their mental concentration, and their training is only complete when they have learned to freely shift the focus of their awareness from body to mind and back again.
यतो हस्त ततो दृष्टि यतो दृष्टि ततो मन यतो मन ततो भाव यतो भाव ततो रस.
These words confirm the expressive and spiritual potency of the hands. Whether we are practicing Indian dance, tantric ritual, or learning the Veda, we only progress by turning our focus from the emotional content of a gesture called bhava to the sublimated mental state known as rasa. Having watched performers and priests using their hands to such powerful ends, what can we learn from these different applications of the mudra technique? Perhaps it is this. It doesn't matter if the context is theatrical or religious. It seems that the real and the transcendent are both products of a culturally constructed body. Everything around us is symbolically conceived and performatively established. And, as we have seen, our hands play a vital role in valorizing existence.